Welcome back to another edition of the RTF show. I'm your host, Michael, here. It's the holiday edition, as you can see by our guests' glorious background. But first, Brother John is with me. Brother John, how's it going?
It's going well. Flying solo this week. Wife decided to go to sunny Palm Springs for a ladies and gaydies trip. It's the women and gays only. Gals and gays only, so I got left home with the dog and cat.
Nice. Well, you're not alone with me on this pod. We're here together, but we're joined by my opponent this week. We seem to just be bringing on my opponents each week during the playoffs. The only people who want to hop on here. But Josh, it's a pleasure to have you. How's it going, buddy?
It's going well. I'm here alone with my two friends. Nameless friends behind me.
I like the holiday cheer. It's much needed. Feels like a bit of a damper, holiday season. The NFL is in complete and utter chaos. COVID ravaging part of the nation again. But we're gonna persevere here. We're gonna go through kind of quickly last week's matchups. We'll talk about what transpired there, and then do a little preview of what's to come starting tomorrow. So let's dive right in. Last week, I don't know if anybody else felt this way, but in all the years that we've been playing fantasy football, last week's first playoff weekend felt like the longest, and it probably was the longest playoff weekend I've ever been a part of. It was excruciating on a lot of levels. Hard to watch.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. There were several leagues where I was just like, please just put me on my misery, like early Sunday, like either I win it or I don't. But waiting till Tuesday to figure this out, it's just
it was tough.
It was exhausting. It was too much football, and we're getting right back into it tomorrow.
Yeah, especially because most of the game, not non-fantasy wise, like the games were pretty boring ever since the Thursday night game.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. Thankfully, sure. I didn't watch that Tampa Bay New Orleans game.
That was brutal. Well, let's kind of cover last week real quick. So last week, Josh had the bye, and the Alpha Peter had the bye. Josh, it was a nice week for you to have your bye. I
haven't even seen that.
Let's take a quick look at this.
You may have made a couple changes here, I would imagine.
Well, yeah, Hopkins I would not have started.
Yeah, and Swift you wouldn't have started either. So you probably would have finished with more than that, but a down week from Cordero Patterson, a week from David Montgomery and Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, I mean, if you plug in Gage and Wilson there, you're looking at 110 points. So that's respectable.
I probably would have done Patterson at receiver and then plugged in Williams and Stevenson. So it wouldn't have been that great. I was going to say.
Well, yeah, that would have been that's why you got to buy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go. But no matter the games that did matter. So I took down Charlie, and ultimately it turned out to be a somewhat anticlimactic victory. Charlie's team just kind of shit the bed, gave me a real scare with Brandon Cooks. That second touchdown kind of terrified me. But other than that, it was a fairly, roomy win.
It didn't look bad. So right after that first touchdown by Brandon Cooks, I texted my lovely sister-in-law and I said, "How's Mike doing?" And she responded, "He ... doesn't seem happy."
I had a rough Sunday. But Mark Andrews.
Hold on. We followed up, and she around 1:00 my time, so that must have been 3:00. sometimes she goes, okay, I can confirm. Mike is very not happy right now. Sad face.
It was true. I was not. The Brandon Cooks thing was hard to watch, but Mark Andrews, just a beast. And I was going to do this whole thing where I went through and read the messages that pretty much everybody in the league sent after I traded for Mark Andrews, basically lambasting the trade and telling me what an awful move it was. But I won't do that. I'll be a gracious winner.
Wow,
it was just nice to see.
I was one of those people.
Yeah,
I think I was too.
Well, I had Andrews in another league last year, and he was so touchdown dependent that I didn't think he was very good. But turns out,
he had a rough year last year. All right, the other game, which was extremely close until Cooper Kupp just broke it wide open, was the Fitz-Alec game. And those two had a battle the entire way this season. Their first two games, I think both were decided within about 8 or 9 points. Two really tough games. And Fitz came into that last night, needed Matt Stafford, needed Cooper Kupp to have a big showing, and Van Jefferson to have a bad showing. And ultimately, it worked out perfectly for him. I mean, any thoughts on this matchup?
To win by over 20 points when your two top receivers combined for less than 2 is pretty crazy.
Yeah, for sure. And just, bad luck on Alec's side, obviously losing Henry mid-season and then Godwin going down. That game, that's rough.
A good season, though, for Alec. I think, I believe on this very show, we counted Alec out a bit after Henry went down. I was expecting him not to make the playoffs, and to pull it out, make the playoffs is pretty impressive. I'm not going to say the same for Charlie because, fuck that guy.
But, hey man, that guy's 8-6. I can't compete.
But he did make the playoffs. Real quickly in the consolation, Peter and Steve had buys. John lost another game, big surprise. And Ken lost another game, another big surprise. You two will be buying for last place. Not that it matters at this point. But Bill and Kelly move on to face Peter and Steve in the consolation bracket. Just a reminder, you can win $50 back there. All right, let's get into it. This week, two big quarterfinal or semifinal matchups. We're going to start with the Alpha Peter versus the Bomboleros Revenge. The Alpha Peter obviously just ran through the league this year. 11-3, put up the most points, kind of just consolidated his players from last season, kept the talent, and carried it over to this year, and then was able to make some moves at the deadline to kind of solidify his spot as the top team in the league. Fitz, on the other hand, kind of been carried by Cooper Kupp this year. And Travis Kelce. Cooper Kupp and Kelce have really just taken this team to the next level. And I think if you're Fitz, right, the Kelce thing is devastating, and the only hope is that it gets offset by Hill if both of those guys end up not playing. But it's possible they play. So who the fuck knows?
And it's a little bit more likely that Kelce plays, right? Because Kelce landed on the COVID list earlier. So
yes, right?
So
I believe Kelce went on a day before Hill went on.
Yeah, so not by much,
Who are their respective backups?
So Fitz does not have a backup tight end on his roster at this point. I would imagine he'll be rectifying that tomorrow, and tonight. We can take a look and see who the players are. I'm interested to see what that looks like because, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, Fitz only has $4 to spend, and so I would imagine he's spending all $4 on a backup tight end, or he's going to wait. And yeah, that's a question now, that we didn't really discuss in these emergency COVID protocols. So, Kelsey's been designated, right? So Fitz, he can't enact the emergency COVID rules, right?
No, but looking at his bench, he has plenty of droppable players on there.
Right, but he has, because he has time, right? Because he has time, he has to utilize his fab to pick up a tight end rather than waiting till Sunday.
Yeah, he needs to pick up a tight end.
Is that correct? Okay.
Don't we need to use $1 anyways, even if it's a COVID emergency?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And I mean, I'm intrigued to see who he picks up here.
Yeah. Gerald Everett had an okay game. I think he had like a couple receptions and like 45 yards last game. Oh, 60 yards.
Yeah, he had a good game.
Russ Wilson had a terrible game, but
I mean, that's the issue with.
I don't know who else you're targeting there. I mean, maybe Uzama hoping for a touchdown.
Well, I think any of these guys, you pick up any one of these guys, you're just praying one of them gets a touchdown, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there a name on here that you'd be targeting, Josh?
Not really.
Yeah.
I think I saw Parham on there, but he seems to get a red zone. I don't know the stats on this, but every time I watch the Chargers, which is a lot because it's on here a lot, he seems to get a red zone target or two.
Yeah, Parham is on here. Is he going to be able to play?
Why? Because he is carted off?
Yeah. I mean,
it turned out to be just a concussion, right?
Yeah.
It did. Sure. It did. That looked as bad as any player being carted off as I've ever seen. It was nuts.
The play itself didn't seem that bad. That's why it was surprising.
Yeah.
No,
well, it was like that similar play to that. I think that player in Seattle was it last year that he was a a maybe to play that following week. So I think now what we're seeing with the NFL is that with any head injury that they are either knocked out or it appears to be severe, they immediately go into that like heightened protocol. And so it might not end up being that severe, but they're always going to get like boarded and I don't know what you call it.
Yeah, I doubt that too. He's definitely not going to pick him up, especially tonight or tomorrow, but maybe Hooper, I guess.
Everett, Hooper, or I mean, honestly, like Jimmy Graham even gets like 2 red zone targets a game. So
that's true. That's true. It's the only time he comes in the game. All right.
But as far as a backup though, like let's say Hill doesn't play, I mean, you're looking at that like despite Gronk's terrible game last week, I would slot Gronk in there at that flex position over someone like Waddle, or if Waddle does play.
Especially because with Gronk, like Godwin's obviously out and then Evans might not play, so Brady's gonna have to throw to somebody.
I didn't look all the way down. I mean, if Henderson's playing, you could play Henderson if he's healthy.
Henderson, it sounds like, is going to play. I don't know that you feel like you can rely on Henderson right now, especially given the work that Sonny Michel seems to be getting. I like
because Brendan's starting Michel.
Yeah, it would. It would. I do like, I like the idea of putting Gronk in, but Waddle has just been unbelievable. So
Yeah, why was he out last week?
COVID.
Okay. So,
Pretty sure.
I mean,
Devontae Parker is back though, and so you might see some, that 9, 10, 11
Mhm.
target share there go down. Tua loves Devontae Parker, so
when did Devontae go out?
Maybe week 8.
he's-
Earlier than that, week 5, 4 or 5. He was out for a while, so I think that right around that uptick. But
yeah, I don't know. I do like the idea of going with Gronk. Should Hill not be able to play?
Yeah, that's what I would do. I rocked Andrews and Gronk in one league all season, so in the flex and tight end position. So I think it's worth it. I mean, especially what Josh said about Godwin and Evans.
One of the concerns I think for Fitz is just that some of these guys maybe this is what I called lazy analysis last year, but I feel like there are some guys here that are up for a bounce back game this week, especially Chubb. I think Chubb has a big week against Green Bay. They're going to need to control the clock, right, against that Packers offense, and so running Chubb into the ground, I feel like is what's probably going to happen.
Yeah, I could see that. I could also see though, Jefferson and Diggs potentially having a down game. I know Cousins became questionable today. I didn't look at the actual injury. If that's the case, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't play, then that's going to hurt Jefferson a lot. And then New England always takes away, I feel like, their best receiver.
Yeah.
And so we could see Diggs have a down game.
Yep.
Supposed to be freezing rain in New England also.
Oh, great.
Love it.
Not as bad as the Monday night game between those teams a couple weeks ago, but
yeah,
it doesn't help the passing game.
Oh,
no,
great.
It certainly doesn't.
Yeah.
But Fitz has some good matchups, like Robinson going against the Jets. That's as good as it's going to get for him.
Yep,
totally,
for sure.
Yeah, he had
I
thought he said like a 95% like running back share last game.
Oh, last game.
Yeah.
I mean, he had 21 touches, which is finally getting rid of. Let's be honest though. Is there a path to victory here for Fitz if Kelsey does not play?
It would have to be like a lot of this and this and this and this and this happened.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do you want to make a pick?
Yeah, I guess
unanimous, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah.
Let's not give him the
satisfaction
about saying his name.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
I predict Kelsey will play and he will double his output from last week.
Oh wow, love it.
What would that be?
400 yards?
Almost 400 yards, 4 touchdowns.
76 fantasy points. 76 fantasy points. All right.
He could still lose. Like if Kelsey put up 76 points, you could still see Fitz losing.
For sure.
Yeah.
There's a possibility.
I think that says it all right there.
With Cooper Kupp, I mean, if he has that good a day, I'm going to give Fitz the edge. All right. Let's move to the other game. The other game is me versus Josh. I'm going to let's let John kind of take us through what he sees here, and then Josh and I can kind of react.
I'll just say I've been tinkering with my lineup all day. I honestly don't know who I'm going to start.
I am in the same boat. I don't know what I'm going to do either. But
yeah,
John, go
yeah. I mean, the empty spot at quarterback, Mike, I think that's very fitting for you because no matter who you put in there, will not get more than a few points. So if you didn't notice last week, Hurts put up a monster game. Or I guess it was yesterday. Jesus Christ.
I'm just going to say the reason I did like Hurts last week, the reason I couldn't play Hurts last week was because he played on Tuesday. And if Hurts, who had been hurt, ended up not going, I wasn't going to have a quarterback to play.
That's fair.
Hurts
we understand.
Hurts is in the realm of possibility this week.
However, yeah, so go back up, please. I think this is going to be a very close one. I think either way, I mean, if the people that are in the lineups now end up playing, which looking at Josh's team, seems like Elijah Mitchell is not going to play again this week, and Wilson had a good game last week, and I think he's a great start at running back. David Montgomery, I think, will have a great game as well. And Swift, the Lions are coming off 2 wins in a row. I think the Lions are really going to push hard, and I think we could see a big game out of Swift if he's healthy. It's been unclear. I don't know if you have any other information on like how severe his shoulder strain is, because he's been like maybe the last couple weeks. So,
Mike, if you don't mind clicking on his name, but I think he might have been at practice today, which makes it seem like he'll play.
Yeah, he had a limited practice today, I think, for the first time.
My feeling with him is like they should probably just sit him the rest of the season. But if they do play him, I can't imagine them limiting his touches.
Yeah.
So it's the type of thing like if he does play, I should play him.
Did they not update? So his only update today was, they returned the practice. Okay. I would imagine Swift plays. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that a lot. With Eckler having COVID and James Conner, seemed like he was pretty banged up still. Edwards-Helaire might be a great play, but I think so far right now the running back edge definitely goes to Josh. The wide receiver edge, having Patterson in there, despite his somewhat down game last week, I think is a great move, and it's very sneaky on Yahoo's side to put him there. Or to make him wide receiver eligible, which I didn't realize he was wide receiver eligible all season. That's pretty good. I do like Keenan Allen has a big game. No, he's not. He's a running back only in ESPN. You're right. But yeah, having Herbert, Keenan Allen, I think that's might end up hurting Mike a little bit. But Deontay Johnson, I think, is in for a big day. And Deebo Samuel, I don't know. I mean, he had a kind of a down week last week, didn't he?
He had 16 points, I think.
Okay.
Something like that, mid-teens.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess now you kind of think of that as like a down game, but in reality, that's still going to get it done. So I think it's going to be a very close matchup. I think like high or like mid 110 to 120, somewhere in that range. And if Eckler doesn't play though, that might be the deciding factor. And of course, if Swift doesn't play either, then you guys are going to have a lot of tinkering to do.
Yeah, well, I may plug in AJ Brown, who plays tomorrow, so I got to decide that pretty quickly.
You think he's gonna play though? I mean, they haven't. So. He's designated, but
they activated him. But there's been no. I'll know tomorrow. I have no choice, but they're gonna say it tomorrow, so I'll know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like he'll play. It'll be interesting. I did see that you had AJ Brown slotted in there for a little while, and I didn't know quite how I felt about that. It seems like one of those things that I should be rooting for, just because he hasn't played in so long, and maybe he has a down game. But I also feel like it's a scenario where he could just pop off.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, so, and I actually really like you've also got Javonte Williams on your bench, which, he's had a great last few games. seems to be like getting more work.
Mhm.
Yeah, you both have those players that could go off, but it's about making the right decisions. And it's always scary starting someone on Thursday, such as AJ Brown, because if you get the dud, you're staring at that dud all week long, and it's a little nerve-wracking. But you've got Ayuk sitting over there too, Mike.
I'm not too worried about Ayuk. I'm probably not going to play Ayuk. But the real decision that I have to make is moving Eckler out as a precautionary measure. James Conner is a new injury this week. I don't know what it is, but it is not the same injury that hampered him last week. And so, Edwards-Helaire will move into the starting role. I'll probably have to flex somebody, and that leaves, I've only got Hilliard as the other running back on my roster. So whether I have to play him or not tomorrow night is going to be a bit of a risk. I'm not really sure. Something I'll have to figure out, and kind of worries me about.
Oh, I see.
About
if they both end
situation.
I get it. If they both end up not playing, I mean, can you go to the waiver wire? I guess you only have $1 left, right?
I've got $1, just not a waiver wire running back. So that's what you save that final dollar for, I guess. We'll see.
There's no great option either.
No, there's not.
Because I was like, should I block? Should I block? Because I have two defenses, I can easily drop one, but there's no one even worth blocking you from. But even if I going back to AJ Brown playing tomorrow night, even if I don't play him, I have Debo and maybe Jeff Wilson going tomorrow night.
Yeah, you've got. I mean, the thing that's I think I do like is that you've got your guys going before mine, or a few guys going before me, which will be good to see. But most of our players, I think the vast majority for both of us, play on Sunday. Most of your guys are Sunday at noon.
If our matchup goes down to Monday Night Football and we have to freaking watch the Miami Dolphins defense against the Saints, I actually don't think I'll watch it.
I don't even know if I'll watch it. That would be excruciating. All right. Any other thoughts on here on this matchup? You have any?
It's gonna be close.
John, you want to make a pick? Josh and I won't. Will not make a pick, but John, you want to make a pick?
Let's see here. It's Prescott. Prescott's playing Washington. Philly, New Jersey. It's a Jets.
This is like a beautiful mind right now.
It's interesting because both. I mean, Dallas, Washington, right, and then Philly and the Giants. It's divisional matchups, right? So generally, those are pretty tough, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you're going to get a good game from either Prescott or Hurts, which is really
So here's the only thing I'll say about Prescott. Prescott, for the most part, has been really good at home. The games that he's had duds for have all come on the road. So
that's true.
That's the one thing.
That's fair. I think that's fair. He played Washington 2 weeks ago. Didn't do too well, but of course it's away. But those could be really tough. But I do think we're gonna know really well. Have a much better idea by tomorrow night after the game
what it looks like.
Why don't you wait till after Monday's games and then you can let us know who you think's going to win?
Yeah, I like it. So just take the safe route, John.
Josh, I was gonna pick you, but I'm gonna hang 10, keep it loose. I'm gonna go with the surfers here.
All right.
It's gonna be sunny in San Diego.
Okay. I think that's
whale
smart.
vaginas Web surfers and go 118 to 112.
Well, what's your
18 to 112.
Ooh, all right. That'll make us have to at least pay attention to the box score of the Dolphins game. But
Yeah,
what's your confidence level, Mike?
I'll be honest, the Eckler thing is really shaking me right now. If he doesn't play, I have very little confidence that I'm going to come out of this. He's my best player. I can't. It's going to be hard to win without my best player.
Yeah.
So I think it all kind of hinges on that for me. But there's certainly guys like that I could get a good game from. Let's say Eckler plays. What's your level of confidence? Do you feel pretty confident?
Yeah. Well, speaking of Eckler maybe being out, I have McCaffrey out, so that would call it even.
Yeah.
But
yes.
I am confident on my players as a whole, but like AJ Brown coming back from injury, Swift coming back from injury, Patterson hasn't done well the past couple of weeks. Like there's some question marks there. Mm-hmm. So I don't think out of those three guys, I can only start two. I can't start all three of them just because those guys are giving me nervous. Everybody else I think has a decent floor.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel comfortable with the floor of a lot of my guys. Like, I know Keenan Allen is going to have a decent day. He does every week. I'm confident that Deontay Johnson is going to have a decent day. Same with Mark Andrews. It's going to be like I need one of those guys to go for, probably two of those guys to go for 25 points if Eckler doesn't play. And then I'm going to need a quarterback to get me more than 10 points, which hasn't happened for me in about 5 weeks, which is just fucking excruciating. But we'll see.
I think both your quarterback options are pretty good.
I think they are too. I thought they were the last 5 weeks, which is why it's
matchup wise. I mean,
we'll see.
Yeah. Good luck, anyways. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Good luck to you, Josh. We'll see what happens. And we'll come back and revisit these next week. But I think maybe for next week, since it's going to be championship week, we'll try to do a bigger show, kind of get maybe the 2 championship contenders on here to talk about things. We'll see who those are. We'll also maybe hand out some awards for the season, some regular season awards, and do a little retrospective. Maybe we'll do something live. So teasing a whole bunch of stuff for next week. Any parting thoughts, you guys, before the championship or the semifinals?
Not for me. I hope everyone's healthy. Not for any I'm a good person reasons, but I just hope everyone has all their players and any asterisk or anything like that.
I thought you were talking about like the league members for a second, but
I do hope for that too.
Yeah. All right, John, any parting thoughts? John's on mute, so he's lost his parting thoughts privileges.
I'm good, thank you. Yeah,
right.
I also thought Josh thought it was he was talking about family members and league members, but never mind.
All right, everybody have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. We will talk to you before the new year. We'll be back with a new show before the new year. But until then, Josh, good luck this weekend. John, you're out of it, so it doesn't matter. For all you out there, good luck. Stay safe. Thanks for tuning in.
See ya.
I hope
you're all very healthy and happy over the holidays.